We fought.
My freshman year of college at the University of Wisconsin, 9/11 happened. And as it did for many men and women around the country, it galvanized us into a desire to serve. I said to myself, it's time for you to kind of put your money where your mouth is and to join and go fight alongside everybody else. I enlisted as a rifleman in the Marine Infantry, and we were deployed with the surge to Iraq in 2007. So we went to the Anbar province. It was still a very nasty place to be. It was a pretty rough deployment. A lot of people who come back from that situation, they always miss it just a little bit, because it does create this sense of making everything around you that much more important. Everything becomes much more real. Life becomes much sweeter. Beer tastes all the better. Came back home in November 2008. At the end of my 4 years, I had all my fingers and all my toes. A lot of my friends hadn't been so lucky. I had a mother that I owed it to get out, because it was taking more years off her life than it was mine. So I came home. I started to apply to graduate schools, and then in January of last year, the earthquake hit Haiti.
That sight there of those buildings crumbling.
The images that are coming across the screen are just chaos.
Screaming all over the place.
A city that's full of dust and debris and people running and covered in dust.
Some UN soldiers with those familiar
Reports are coming out that there's mobs that are looting, waving machetes in the streets and burning tires, and kind of had this urge to go help. It just made sense. I looked at the scenes coming out of Port-au-Prince and I said, it's really no different from Fallujah. I looked at my girlfriend and I said, I think I should go down there. I come up with a lot of stupid ideas, and she normally swats them down. And I fully expected her to swat this one down, because it was going to be crazy and it was going to be dangerous. But without hesitation, she said, I think that's a good idea. It was pretty incredible. I started calling people that I knew. I made a deal with her that if I could get one or two guys that I trusted to go with me, that I would go, because I wasn't crazy enough to go down by myself. I went on Facebook and said, I'm going to go to Haiti. I could use the help. And within minutes, William McNulty, who's with me right now, called me up.
And I said, Jake, I'm in.
He said he's in.
I read that Facebook post, and so I said, hey, man, I can do it.
Shortly thereafter, a friend of mine called me up and said, I'll buy everybody's plane tickets. And that's when this, dream or this crazy idea really became a reality. About 2 days later, we left for the Dominican Republic.
I jumped on a plane, met Jake down in Santo Domingo, and the whole effort snowballed.
About 16 hours after that, we were inside Port-au-Prince. Well, coming in from the border, you could start to see slowly the devastation. The closer and closer you got, the more destroyed everything around you was, until finally you got into the heart of Port-au-Prince, and it was a big rubble pile, the whole thing.
We basically struck a deal with the Jesuits prior to coming down that we could use their compound as a base of operations, and then use our skills that we learned in the military, including combat life-saving skills, and help plug ourselves in somewhere into this disaster response. And instead, for at least the first 2 days, it was just us and the Haitians, and we were in some of the worst hit areas of Port-au-Prince.
Yeah, it was incredible. Camps that had literally hundreds of traumatic injuries, and they had not yet seen a doctor. We're talking broken backs, broken legs, amputated limbs that had literally been shorn off with falling debris, and they had nothing but a gym sock wrapped around the end of it. That was really our welcome to Port-au-Prince moment when we walked into that first camp. Going into these refugee camps, what was remarkable to me was the way that we were received by these people, these victims. They were so happy to see you, and they were so calm considering the situation. As we were setting up to begin triaging them, they were triaging themselves, and that was just kind of mind-blowing. Realistically, we probably treated about 500 people that day. At least a few dozen amputated limbs. We had 2 broken backs, a broken hip. We delivered a baby.
We stabilized the patient, and we did that by making splints. And we made splints from everything from
garage doors and windowsills and
sticks. Anything we had, we would tear it apart and make a splint out of it.
We were trying to wash out our clothes with some water at night, shower up with what we could out of buckets, and wash the filth and the blood off. And we'd go to bed. We'd maybe drink some beers if we could find them, and then wake up the next morning and get at it again. The experiences you have in Iraq and Afghanistan, you've responded to suicide bombers, you've responded to mass casualty situations. I think that from our perspective, there's nobody that's better suited for that environment than a combat veteran. And not because of their ability to shoot or throw grenades or anything like that, but their ability to manage the chaos. And that's what this situation was down there. It was pure chaos, and veterans have great ability for time to kind of slow down for them. And for them to really pick out what the urgent needs and problems are to address. The long-term solution is going to lie with those Red Crosses and the International Medical Corps, and there's no doubt about that. But in that immediate aftermath, there was definitely a need for these small teams to get into these areas that were just overwhelmed with injuries. And once we were going out and not finding those injuries is when we said, okay, we packed up and we left Haiti.
And so Jake and I, and the rest of the team, we all sat down and we just decided that I think we have something here. I think we have a model for something.
We have over 2 million veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. The skills and experiences that they've had translate remarkably well to disaster zones. All the polls say that our veterans want to continue service in some capacity. They feel like they're almost useless. There's an obvious symbiotic relationship between the two, and nobody's connecting these dots.
The organization's called Team Rubicon. Our mission statement is very specific. We provide this first response capability in the immediate aftermath of large disasters. First, we went back to Haiti on a cholera mission.
Shortly after getting back from Haiti, that massive earthquake tsunami hit Chile. We sent a team down there, sent a training mission to the Thai-Burma border. Shortly after that, the flooding in Pakistan.
After Pakistan, we went to Sudan.
What we were doing brought all these veterans together in this spirit of service.
And they could easily define progress. They could easily see that they saved a life, which progress to a lot of veterans was a hard thing to define for many years serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. In
a refugee camp with a ton of injuries, when you're presented with somebody that is near the end of their life, if you're able to save that person, that is a tremendous experience, and that gives you a feeling of self-worth that you can carry with you for the rest of your life.
Many thanks to Jake Wood and William McNulty. If you want to find out more, go to our website, snapjudgment.org.